Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and I'm continuing to go through all of Kevin Smith's films. So today I'm doing the 2011 movie Red State. Here is your trivia question for today. What is the name of the church group in the film? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So at the beginning of this film, we meet three best friends, Jared, Travis, and Billy Ray. Travis has stumbled upon an app where you can meet people in your local area to have sex. And it just so happens that he has found an older woman who is willing to sleep with all three of them at the same time. So our three boys drive out to this woman's trailer, and right as things are about to get real fun, they begin to feel a little funny as they black out as she apparently laced their drinks with something. When they regain consciousness, they, along with another gentleman, are now inside the compound belonging to the local religious group. So the boys soon find out that this other gentleman happens to be a sinner, at least in the eyes of this church, and they very quickly dispatch of him. And now, of course, due to their planned group fornication, the boys are next. Luckily for them, the local deputy does hear a commotion and tries to check things out at the compound. Unfortunately, though, the people that are living there take out the deputy, but he does manage to notify the sheriff first. The sheriff then contacts the ATF, who heads out to the compound, but now it's turned into a big firefight between the two sides. So, will the boys actually be able to gain their freedom? And if one side does beat the other, is there actually a winner in this fight? This movie was written and directed by Kevin Smith. Smith was inspired by a few things when creating this film: Pastor Fred Phelps, the Waco siege, and his friend Brian Johnson's film called Vulgar. The whole movie was actually shot in sequence from start to finish. Michael Parks is perfect as the character of Aubin Cooper, but Smith at one point did slightly toy with the idea of having George Carlin play the character, but with his passing, that definitely was not going to happen. When writing the character, though, Smith did specifically have Michael Parks in mind after his performance from the film From Dusk Till Dawn. Smith has even said that if Parks turned down the role, he wouldn't have made the movie. The character of Joseph Keenan is played by John Goodman, but there were two other actors that were potentially up for that role: Samuel L. Jackson and Alan Rickman. The megaphone that Goodman actually uses in the film belonged to Kevin Smith. It was from his home, where he would use it to communicate with his family and pets. There were actually quite a few actors that Kevin Smith had not worked with before that appear in this movie, including Kyle Gallner, Michael Angarano, Nicholas Braun, Carrie Bichet, Melissa Leo, James Parks, who just so happens to be the son of Michael Parks, Anna Gunn, Matt Jones, Kevin Alejandro, Molly Hagan, Ralph Garman, and Patrick Fischler. And then, of course, there's actors that Smith has worked with previously, like Stephen Root, who, by the way, in the sequence where Root is tripping and falling because of Keenan, that actually happened by mistake. He does feel glad, though, that Smith left it in as he felt it was perfect. There's also Betty Aberlin, Ernest O'Donnell, Mark Blucas, Kevin Pollak, Damian Young, and even Kevin Smith's wife, Jennifer Schallbach Smith. The Westboro Baptist Church was actually planning on protesting this film at the Sundance Film Festival. Smith actually set up a counter protest, which he was able to plan for due to the protests he dealt with his movie Dogma. He even interviewed two Westboro Baptist Church defectors that saw the film and complimented Smith on how realistic certain aspects were depicted. Kyle Gallner actually had a panic attack while being tied to the cross, but the crew was unaware of this at first as they thought he was still acting. There is no score for the film, but the entire soundtrack is songs sung within the film itself. Kevin Smith actually makes an off-screen cameo right at the end of the film. When Cooper is in the prison talking to himself, someone yells, "Shut the fuck up." The idea of Kevin Smith doing this was actually Michael Parks' idea, but Smith only agreed to it if he wasn't shown. The sound effect of the horn heralding the arrival of the apocalypse was originally used in the 2010 film Legion to herald the arrival of the Archangel Gabriel. The original ending in the script did in fact have the apocalypse occurring, with the four horsemen showing up, the rapture occurring, and an angel of death walking around taking people out, with Keenan being left last. Now, I don't know how factual this last part is, but supposedly, if they went with this ending, Smith was apparently toying around with the idea that Matt Damon would come back as his character of Loki from Dogma to be the Angel of Death. And lastly, this movie was filmed in California. So when it comes to the film Red State, this is a very interesting movie. It's just dark, gritty, and really raw. And it's got some really, really good acting in the movie, especially Michael Parks. I do have to say, every once in a while, there is a sequence or a scene that feels like it does kind of drag on a little bit, but it's definitely a movie to check out at some point. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. And if you did enjoy this film, other movies I recommend checking out are Green Room, Eden Lake, Hard Candy, and any of the Hills Have Eyes movies. And now it's time for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. What is the name of the church group in the film? So, the group that owns and lives on the compound is the 5 Points Trinity Church. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.